We should go. Look.
Hey, let's see. I think we're just waiting on Brett. Um, hey, let's see. And why don't we begin? Agenda.
Ronson, if uh, is Britt is not here yet,
No, no. I guess we can begin though.
maybe you can ask Bill. Bill, if you're there, maybe you can run the meeting until until Britt gets here.
That works for me.
Okay. Okay. So you have the agenda out. We can just get going. Bill, do you want to get started?
Oh yeah, so I don't act well. Actually, Jack, I'm at a disadvantage. I don't have the agenda
Oh,
in
you
front of me.
don't. Okay.
So
Well, Ronson can call the items and then maybe you can facilitate the discussion.
okay.
Yeah, so the first item is just to receive and file the November 26th meeting notes.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that, Ronson?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Olivia.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
And then the next one is we'll just go ahead and get started. We have the City of Torrance Senior Services, Patty Goldenson, Recreation Supervisor, presenting on their programs.
Very good. Over to you, Patty. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Just let me know when you want me to do it.
Over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to share the screen. It's loading.
We're not seeing it yet.
Yeah, it's not coming up. It's supposed to come up.
Like I say in council meeting, it's great when technology works. It's not so good when it doesn't.
It's true. Well, I'm just going to go through it and tell you what it says. So we're from the city of Torrance, which is the South Bay city, which you all know and have probably visited. We are senior services, and we have 3 different senior centers. One in South Torrance, which is called Walteria Senior Center. And basically at that senior center, they are very into ping pong. Ping pong is the game there. There's about 40 people that come. That the center's open Mondays and Thursdays, and both days are filled with people who come. They don't want to do anything else. They will acquiesce to play cards when it's not their turn to play ping pong. But it's a great group of people, and they have a good time. So that's all we care about. And then we have one in North Torrance. It's called the Tillum Center. It's on McMaster Park. And they are it's funny how the areas have different kind of specialties. In Tillum, they do a lot of watercolor painting, oil painting, crafting. They have a craft group on Tuesdays all day long where it can be any kind of medium, and there's always someone there to teach or help you. It's like a big workshop. And then at the main center is in downtown Torrance. It's called the Bartlett Senior Center. I think some of you probably heard of it. And it's our main center. It's the biggest place. We have a lunch program here where it's $3. And we did have a chef, and he retired, unfortunately. But we are looking for another one. Right now, we're using a caterer, and it seems to be working. We had before COVID, we were feeding about 70 people a day, Monday through Friday. But after COVID, it took a long time. And well, we only were allowed to have 4 per table for a while, and you all know how that works. But now we're back to we can have as many as come and less come because it's a different program. But we're hoping to get back to our chef. That we also have classes and workshops at all 3 centers. There's always someone having an activity that they can teach you, so, and it's open, come and go as you please. We do a lot of fitness classes like yoga, fitness difference, chair yoga, and line dancing. We have a Spanish group that is learning to speak Spanish, and they've been working on this for a year. And they're doing so well. They're in there talking to each other in Spanish, and it's really neat. And they are laughing all the time. And so we have a big group that does that. We also offer this interesting thing. It's a Spanish-English book club. And they have the book in both Spanish and English, and they read at home and then come together and discuss it. And it's really cool how they're speaking both Spanish and English, and everybody's getting it and having a good time. We also have a lapidary lab here. I don't know if you're familiar with lapidary. They cut rocks and make jewelry, and it's some beautiful stuff they put out here. And please, anytime, you're welcome to come here, have a tour, see what we have lunch, hang out, whatever. It's a pretty cool place. We have a gardening club and a beading workshop, and we have a couple discussion groups. One's a current event type discussion group. Can get a little crazy, with the politics now. Kind of interesting. And then we have a discussion group called Coffee with Maxine, a discussion group for women and brave men. And that is the biggest discussion group we have. They had 17 people last time, and they just really talk and have a good time, and usually come out with some kind of thing to share with other people. It's really nice. But we have a meditation and a walking club. So twice a week in the morning, they go walking either around downtown Torrance or one of our nearby parks. And let's see, we have writing classes and salsa for seniors. Our Spanish teacher is the one who teaches salsa. And so when she's teaching Spanish, she uses a little salsa sometimes, gets them going there. But we have all kinds of programs going throughout the day here at Bartlett, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. The other sites, Walteria is open Monday and Thursday from 11 to 3, and Tillum is open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 3. And it's just filled with things to do, with people who want to play games, and it's a lot of fun. And when we bring new people in, and we have been bringing, because it's our time to sign up again, we bring new people in, and their kids bring them in a lot of times, and they're a little nervous and they don't want to be here by themselves and stuff. But usually one of the staff will take them up to the dining room. It's the best place to make friends, and seat them at a table with someone they know is a talker, and instant friendship. Well, not always, but for the most part, they feel part of it and together. And I think that's why they keep coming back. Because trickling back from COVID was really an experience to hear these people's experience of being isolated or being whoever they were with and stuff. And for a long time, that's all anybody talked about. But as the group grew and stuff, and it seems like COVID is now not something that's constantly on their mind, but we have people back in there now involved, and I really think that's a really important thing, is them being able to get involved with each other's lives and talk about their own stuff, and it's just helpful. We have a group that comes once a month and speaks on different topics that's senior related, all kinds of different things. And let's see, there's something else on the other side. But yeah, we have a little mini gym. We can't really call it a gym because it only has 4 exercise equipment things, and then some free weights and hula hoops and all that stuff. But it actually is pretty popular. They go in there and do a little workout, and it's a treadmill and a recumbent bike and some couple other pieces, and people. It's not been real crowded because it's too cold right now, and it's kind of cold in that room. So they haven't been going as much. But it's really something that the people are pulling in for. You know, it's one of our things, I believe, that pull people into the center and get them started at least. Let's see, I forgot all about these slides. We have a newsletter. It's called 50 and On the Go, and it has how to join. It's $5 a year. You fill out a little packet with an emergency form and a waiver, and you're a member for a year. And in that membership, you get a bi-monthly newsletter. You can take any of the classes. The only one that has a fee is lapidary, and because it involves some rocks and stuff. But they have for all three flyers, the newsletter has for all three centers, it has everything in it. So you can pick it up at all three centers and the library, but it will be mailed to you if you're a member. And also has information on the Commission on Aging, and some information on Focal Point, which is a group that is right next to us. We're practically, sisters there. And I know you all know Bee. She's in charge of it, and she's an amazing person and helps a lot of people out. And so we like to support them as much as we can. And let's see. We have monthly themes and festivities for the themes. Some of them are different, like February is always going to be like Heart Day or Happy Heart Day, but we have Older American Month that we do something each week for, and then we'll have the luau. The National Senior Day will be a big event, and International Day of Peace in September. Of course, Halloween, and then we do a Thanksgiving luncheon, and December we do a holiday luncheon. We also do 2 craft fairs a year. They are in November and in May, and one's a holiday and one's just the spring craft fair. And it's all seniors. You have to be 50 to sell your wares there. It's minimal price, $25 for your booth. And it's like a big party. And we have a great snack shack. So come. We also once a year do a senior prom. And lately they've been wanting the 40s music. So last year we did Fly Me to the Moon was the theme. Then we had a 6-piece band and the dancing and refreshments. We had our prom king and queen. And if you could see this, you would see them because there's a picture here of them. And they take pictures and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. And people really get into it. Some will come in jeans and a t-shirt, and some will come in a tuxedo. And it's so cute, and they dance like crazy, and they have a great time. Let's see. We do a COVID and flu clinic. We're having one in October this year, the new booster and the flu shot. Then we have the Torrance Travelers, which finally came back this year. And we've been to Tanaka Farms. We took them to the Getty, the Huntington Library. We went to the Holiday Lights Festival at the Mission Inn in Riverside. And we're going to be going to Alvera Street and the Union Station to have a tour. And our last one for this season will be, we think, an angel game, but we're not sure yet. We're going to figure that out still. But we do it as like 4 times a year. And the upcoming trips will will be announced in the newsletter. So they'll have it update. We're trying to put together all next year, so they have the trips way in advance. I tell you about monthly like this. We have a good time here. It's a very diverse group of people, and they all seem to get along. We've had very few problems. We do have some homeless people who spend the day with us and leave at the end of our day and go wherever they go, but they're here with us all day long, and they participate in things, and it's just a warm place to be sometimes. And so we have no problem with that. And most of the time they come in for lunch because it's only $3. You know, you can't even get a McDonald's hamburger for $3. So, and it's a nutritious lunch, and I think for the most part it's very tasty. You know, nobody is perfect. So every once in a while we get a thinker, but that's okay. Anyway, you're all welcome to come visit us at any of our centers. My office is at the Bartlett Center, and I'm here a lot. So call me if you're in the area and want to come out and visit, and we'd love to have you. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Aaron?
Hey, Patty, thanks so much for sharing. That was a great presentation. Actually, I liked it probably more than having slides. So just your enthusiasm is contagious. I have about 3 questions, and they're kind of different topics. But I work at the COG, and we are we're trying to support all kinds of programming across the region. And the first question I have has to do with technology and your centers. Do you have any computer labs or do you have technology available for seniors at your centers so that if I drop by, I can hop on a computer or I can learn how to use different software?
What we have right now, we had a one-on-one teacher, and they would come in, but they retired. And so right now we don't have a teacher, but we have our youth council who come in 3 or 4 times a year and work with our seniors on any kind of technical, their phone, their computer, their iPad, whatever, and go over it with them. Hopefully we'll get someone who's interested in volunteering to teach computer more, you know, fundamentally and stuff, because we do have an area where we could have a computer lab. We have the computers. We just need a new person.
So if I heard you right, that you have programming that happens from time to time, and it's kind of in flux. You also have space as well. And did I just hear you say you had computers?
Yes.
And is that at all 3 buildings, or just the 1 or 2?
No, we have them only at Bartlett that are available when the lab is open, and but there's 4 of them, and so they'll take in 4 at a time and work with people. But we just have to find that person.
Okay, and who is there? Someone I'm sorry, technology is something I'm passionate about, and I've done some work here at the COG on it. But for the COG team, is there someone to speak to specifically about sort of how the building's wired, how it's set up, or who they could talk to about technology?
We do have wireless in our buildings. I mean, this computer that I'm on is connected to the city computers, you know, so I can get into other files and stuff. But the computers in the lab and the computers that staff have available are not on the same thing. So they can't get into all those things. They can get into some of it and some online stuff. But as far as talking to somebody, we have a IT crew who's really good, and I probably could put you in touch with one of them. I just have to find out.
That's good. That's a follow-up. And then if
Okay.
you, well, I have one other question, and I'm going to kind of riff off of something Lori left in the chat box. But how do you get your message out? Like you have all kinds of cool stuff going on, and you have your membership and your newsletters and such like that. Do you push out your message further in different ways? And is it free to sign up? I mean, I didn't quite get that.
Okay. We advertise, we use flyers. We have a web page for the whole city, and each of us have for our programs a web page where you can find this kind of stuff. Also, we put it up on all our electronic boards, the information. So those are all over the city, and we'll send out like an email blast to people who've been here and who've are members. Once you join, you just fill out these little forms, and it's a $5 fee for the entire year, and then you can come and do whatever you want here with us.
Thank you so much. I'll stop talking. Appreciate it.
Anybody else have a question?
Emily?
Yeah, hey Patty, it's Emily with Beach Cities Health District. Thanks so much for the great presentation. It sounds like there's so much going on at the Torrance Senior Centers. David and I are from Beach Cities Health District and on the call today, and we do get quite a few callers to our information referral line from Torrance. And, unfortunately, with our catchment area, we're not able to serve them through our care management program, but a lot of them are looking for that. We typically do refer them to the focal point, and then also I believe Human Services Association and SSG Silver have countywide contracts that can serve the Torrance area. But just curious, are there any other resources that we should really be referring to for people who are struggling to manage in the home and need kind of a longer term, maybe in-home assessment and support?
Well, when we have those kind of questions or people who need those things, we generally will talk to Focal Point, B or one of the staff there, and see if they can possibly do something for them or give them some information. And usually they can, and they handle it.
Great.
It's a blessing to have them right there, attached to us practically.
Perfect. So we should just continue referring to Focal Point and know that Torrance residents can get served that way, and that's probably the best. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Sure. Anybody else?
I don't see any other hand raised.
Okay.
Patty,
Well,
thank you very much. That was very informative.
Thank you. And like I said, I'll put my information in the chat box, and you can call me anytime if you have questions, or email me, whatever you want to do. Okay.
Thank you. So Ronson, who's doing the survey findings and discussion on where we go from here?
Aaron is going to be doing that.
Okay, Aaron, over to you.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm going to share my screen, and I hope I have a little bit better luck than Patty did. So hang on. You work at the COG, you do slides. So that's how it goes. Let me put this up and share it. And let's see what we can get us into presentation.
Like it's working. Bingo.
Fantastic. There you go. All right. I want to thank every one of you for hopping on today. Many of you took the time to participate in sort of our review of the Senior Services Working Group. So this is a look back and forwards to what the interests are and how the COG can best support you and your organizations moving forward into this year and then hopefully into the future. So that's what my work was over the last month or so. And I took a deep dive into the data and had an opportunity to speak with many of you. So here we go. Real quickly, just to sum up what I did, we took a look at attendance at the meetings as a review metric, meeting content. What did we talk about over the last couple of years? These kind of presentations like Patty presented. We pushed out a survey, which many of you completed. I'm sorry if it came to you multiple times, but that's how surveys work. Got to keep nudging. And then I had the opportunity to meet with several of you, stakeholders, I would call champions, folks with institutional knowledge about the Senior Services Working Group, and sort of pick your brains, start a conversation and talk a little bit about your interests and your visions for the future. And lastly, we've been looking around for funding, and I took a little bit of a dive into some of the funding opportunities that are out there, and we'll get to that at the very end of this. So moving ahead, what did we find? Well, just a quick look back. We've been around for over 10 years. Been doing this. Many of you have been doing it as well. So I can remember when we first started. I think I came and briefed you all on transportation, mobility issues, and things like that I was working on at the time. And that was in 2014, in May of 2014. We've moved forward every other month for better part, for 10 years. The big difference here is that we're virtual. Okay, so that's one of the things that our survey and our inquiries sort of wanted to tap into. Is this a good way of doing business or having these meetings? And just a quick snapshot, and speaking of these meetings, our distribution list, all of you, I believe, are on it. And if you're not, please contact me. Go out to 224, now it's 225 as of today, individuals. And our average attendance is pretty much what we have today. We have 24 people today. I think we have 25 people online today. And over the years, meetings have varied with a high of 32 people attending and a low of 17. And we'll talk about sort of the relationship of the dates, meeting, and the presentation topics in just a few minutes. So moving forward, a quick snapshot, who we are when we come to the meetings. So, the lion's share are CBOs, nonprofits like Beach Cities Health District is a good example of one, HELP, others, and the cities. Again, this meeting group was formed for cities and city staff in particular way back in the day, and we've expanded the reach, if you will. So those are the folks primarily who come. We're supported by staff, the COG, and then there are others. Lori is a good example of someone else. She's a constituent. She has institutional knowledge. She's passionate about this, and she, of course, is invited to attend. As are other, folks. The villages, I believe. So a couple of the villages are not nonprofits, but you have a role in your stakeholders in this space. So that's who we are. Just sort of a report card on from a city perspective of who's attending these meetings. For the most part, over the last couple of years, pretty much every city has attended at least one meeting. That's the good news. You know about it. When you get right down to it, 5 cities attend pretty much a majority of the time, 50% of the meetings, or substantially more. And again, if you kind of dive a little deeper into it, I think you can sort of turn the rock over and look. And some of these cities, like Carson and Torrance and Inglewood and Hawthorne, have very robust senior services programs, senior services centers. And again, that's, they have an interest as stakeholders in coming here to share. And that's one of the findings we're going to get to in just a second, why people come, or why you all come to these meetings. So what have we talked about over the last couple of years? Well, it's range. It's been a broad range, if you will. I've broken them down, kind of the topic areas into 3 general kinds of areas. Services. What kinds of services are there for seniors? And these fall into at least 3 or 5 kinds of different topic areas, housing to mobility. We've had city agency showcases, just like today, Patty's presentation, which, again, very robust. It gives everyone a chance to sort of sneak in, take a look at what's going on in Torrance today, for instance, and maybe get some ideas, some best practices to share. And then we've had policy discussions, which again, policy should be taken more as broad brush, right? These are areas of interest and import to seniors and to senior folks who are supporting seniors and stakeholders in this area. We've had folks from Metro talking about their On the Move program. We talked about scams last month from our friends at Bacharach. And we've talked about technology and such. So those are usually topic areas that the COG brings to this group. Of course, that can come organically from your interests as well, but those are some of the areas that we talked about over the last couple of years. So how do we get the message out? I asked about circulation earlier. Again, we push the we push the information out through our distribution list. Same too with the survey. And the survey went out, it was out for 11 days. And this was a mechanism to try to tap into your interests for topics. Anything we might not have put on into a list that you could check off. And sort of your feelings about when we meet or when this group meets. Again, we're virtual. We really haven't checked in about sort of, is this a good time, a day, that kind of thing. So we wanted to sort of tap into your interests. We got 17 responses in the magazine publishing world. If you're going to push out a survey, that's not bad. We're doing maybe about par for the course. The responders, again, it's a nice cross section, pretty much what we have here today, who we have here today, who took the time to answer the survey. So let's go a little bit deeper on the survey. The reasons for attending. Well, I think it's pretty clear that it's mostly about sort of the networking, the sharing, the learning from others. That seems to be what resonates in the survey, the folks that filled this out. And again, the questions that are asked, if anecdotally, I think your own experiences, lived experiences with this meeting probably reflect this as well. The topics of interest. Well, we offered I sort of surmised or put together sort of the laundry list of topics we've talked about. We threw a few others in there and asked you to check off which ones you were of interest to you, and pretty much all of them to some degree or another. Some and again, it ranges here from emergency preparedness to technology. To volunteer programs, intergenerational programming, those kinds of things. And you all are so passionate about your work, and you want to, and it feels like your interests are range the broad spectrum here. So, but what I did was I unpacked this a little bit, and what we have here, the sort of top, again, 17 folks took the time to complete the survey. So this isn't everybody, but these are the things that sort of rose to the top of the survey, at least. Technology was number one. Senior mobility and safety programs were number two. Folks were interested in scams. That seems to be a very, sort of topical, timely and topical area of content right now. Emergency preparedness. Well, the fires, of course, are been raging, but we live in Southern California, so earthquakes are right around the corner, flooding as the climate change, so that's at the top of people's minds as well. And loneliness and isolation was an important topic as well. So these are the top five. This is just, again, a touchstone for hopefully what we'll get to as a discussion at the end of this little presentation, where we can talk about what do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about this year? What areas do you want to sort of kinds of projects should this group be working on? Okay, let's get to sort of the nuts and bolts of the meeting itself. Pretty much everybody said this is a good time and a good day and a good way to do these meetings. Not a whole lot of consideration for changing the time to lunchtime or in the afternoon. Though some people did, have conflicts, and they put those, they responded accordingly. There's some option here, I suppose, if you wanted to change the meeting time from 9:30 to 10:30, but 9:30 is what the majority of folks said. And then the online piece of this. What was interesting is that given the choice, you could answer different ways. 79% of all respondents said, yeah, meetings should be online. If given the opportunity to have hybrid meetings where you could come into our offices, for example, and also come on online, 42% said that would be a good option. And that same question, 32% had no preference. So it kind of leads one to think that if this group wanted to, we could maybe have occasionally a hybrid meeting where we could offer that. Again, the in-person, the networking, all those things, and maybe even the bagels might show up in the morning for you. So just something to consider. Again, a small sample, but something to talk about perhaps later on. I had the opportunity to sort of dive a little deeper with many of you, or at least a small sample of you. Again, champions, stakeholders, folks with institutional knowledge, just to say, let's, your vision, give us your thoughts on sort of how the COG can help you and your organization to support what you're doing through this working group and maybe other capacity here at the COG. And these are some of the thoughts that came back. And again, this isn't science. This is just sort of anecdotal, ethnographic, if you will, information. And almost everyone, I try to collapse and consolidate the general thinking around this. So our team heard this. It feels like this group is treading water a little bit. Some folks said, hey, is this group an agent for change? Again, it came down to sort of actionable kinds of things. What are the actions that would be associated with this group? We meet, we share, and then what? Folks are looking for this group to have, actions to be meaningful and enriching, something more. Again, I'm sort of putting my take on this, but these are sort of comments and ideas that came back to us. And it gets down to sort of, what else can we do? Just meetings and sharing, or is there something else? So these are some of the feedback that we got when we spoke to folks. And again, will be, I hope, areas and opportunities for us as a group to discuss these later when we're done. And that kind of moved it forward a little bit. Again, speaking with these folks, sort of understanding who've had some institutional knowledge about this working group, about the role of the COG, about how the COG operates, about your own organizations and capacities as well. And there was some discussion about, well, how can we support senior services and senior programming? And one of the things that's out there right now, and this is just one, and this one's, I think, has probably crossed all of your desks, I hope, is the AARP Livable Communities Grant. It's a yearly grant that comes out. The 3 different kinds of categories here. It's a very fast deadline. It's on March the 5th. It's the submission deadline. The actual term of the project is they awarded in June, and you're done by December. And it got us thinking about and sort of talking about, well, is there something here maybe? Could this grant maybe provide an opportunity or an investment, become an investment, if you will, in actionable items for this working group, maybe even for your own organization? It's not limited to, let's put it positively, opportunities to submit for this grant. 501c3s, government agencies or entities can all apply for these kinds of funds. And I highlighted one that came up in discussion and one that our team here at the COG has been kicking around. And that's the idea of disaster preparedness, community resilience. Maybe that's a topic area within a grant application that we might be able to come up with something creative. So this is something that we kicked around in discussion. So we teased out 4 questions, which I would hope, and Bill, I hope you'll facilitate this for us in discussion with this group. You're all here, you're all stakeholders, and you're all passionate about senior services. You're passionate because you're here today about this working group. And the questions are like this. Maybe we can take on, do this live online. Should a hybrid meeting option be made available to the group? Get some feedback from you today that would direct this group in the COG to sort of inform or act upon that question. What should an actionable project be for this year? Get your thoughts. I mean, you're here today because of your interests. A lot of you participated in this exercise. Let's talk about it. There's some thinking here. When you get 17 responses and your mailing list is 224, are we even reaching the right folks? Your feedback on that, your suggestions, your ideas. How do we tap into the folks at the city level, particularly because that's who the COG serves directly, but also at the community and the nonprofits and the CBOs who are doing the work as well. I mean, you're all working in an ecosystem to serve seniors. So how do we reach them and make them stakeholders and invest in this working group and maybe the things that'll come out of it? And then mindful of resource and capacity issues of the COG, what role should the COG play in developing and implementing these kinds of actionable items? So we are a facilitating organization. We bring you to the table. We collaborate with you when you come to us or when we come to you if we have resources or opportunities. Again, we have other grants where we've come to you to be partners or potential partners. So how does that work? I can tell you that we are 85% grant funded. So we don't have we don't have a lot of resources to just do this work. But funding is an issue. Seniors are important. It's part of our mission. And so one sort of tap into that question as well. So that's my presentation. I said a lot, I talked a lot, but now it's time to sort of dive into it and really kind of explore some of these ideas. And Bill, if you don't mind, maybe you can sort of take the lead and let's go through these and maybe we can poll about, get maybe a couple of these things off the table real quick and dive deeper into sort of projects, actionable items, funding, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the presentation, Aaron. So what I want to do is let's just make this for the first one. Let's make it simple. In the chat, put a yes or no on should a hybrid meeting option be made available to the group. So, and Ronson and Aaron, you guys can kind of capture the results. But yeah, I mean, I think part of this goes back to, let's just have the dialogue. And again, the chat's an easy way to go. And I can see we're getting a lot of responses. Okay. 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 So, just looking at the results, I think generally the preponderance of responses have been yes, that we should a hybrid meeting option be made available to the group. So, Aaron, I think that one's kind of I think everybody generally was in favor of that.
Okay, that's great. Just as a point of reference and opportunity, it could be dynamic. I mean, we could do hybrid again every other month, but maybe we can offer that. Ronson, perhaps we can make available the COG boardroom in what I think the next one is in March, or is it April?
Oh, Aaron, I don't know why we can't just make every meeting hybrid.
We can. I mean,
why don't we try that? We'll just make every meeting hybrid from now on.
Okay, great. And now, and attendees, you all have an option. And Jacki, can we have bagels?
We'll see.
Okay.
Don't ask for too much, Aaron.
Yeah.
You know me, I love my bagels. All right, thank you, Bill. So I think that was quick, that was down and dirty, and thank you all for your feedback. And again, we hope to see you in person as well. I think that one of the beauties of pre-COVID was again to see everybody's happy, smiley faces at our meetings.
So going on to the next one, what should be an actionable projects be for this year? How are you defining? I mean, I know you had data earlier in the presentation on actionable. what's your thought there, Aaron, relative to actionable?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I kind of want to toss that back to the group. But one of the I'll share with you one of the things that we kicked around both internally and across different stakeholders. And that is, if as a project, so first of all, a project, something this group working collaboratively, together could take on. And what would that be? Well, it could be a workshop. That's one idea that we sort of tossed around. The topic TBD, to be determined. We talked about, maybe some kind of demonstration project of some sort. Something that could, again, be sort of quickly sort of put together over several months that we could do. Again, we're looking for funds to sort of offset the cost of time and staff, staff time to do that, or the cost to be associated with this. But those were just some ideas. Other ideas included sort of work in the policy area of livable cities, sort of pushing that ball forward. Something again that could be used across the sub-region and across your organizations that would have a life beyond just a one and done kind of experience. But I think, there are other people with their hands up. I'd love to get their feedback.
Lori, over to you.
Hi there. Thank you, Aaron, for the presentation. So anybody who knows me won't be surprised that I'm going to say you're missing senior homelessness prevention in this list of things to tackle. Some of the cities have different needs and different situations, and some cities may experience more homelessness than others. But every one of the cities that are involved with the COG have an issue with seniors facing not being able to pay their rent or not being able to cover their bills if they own their home. And I think that we could provide resources, guidance, counseling, maybe even a workshop that you give each of the cities. And I'm sure each of the cities have people that come in and said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in my home in the next couple of months. I know at Grace, where Grace is working, that Connie told me she hears that on a regular basis. And I'm wondering, to your question of, are we reaching the right people? Who in the cities, are people talking to? Are they coming in and talking to city staff? So maybe we can put together information to help them know what they have available to them, okay, to make sure that they can stay in the home that they're at. So that's that could be a workshop. I don't know. And another thing is, you mentioned volunteers, giving a list of places where seniors can volunteer. That helps with the isolation and giving them more purpose, but mainly senior homelessness prevention. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Olivia?
Yes, good morning, and thank you so much for the presentation. So when you were talking, I was thinking immediately about emergency preparedness. When I was on the city council in Hawthorne, and also when I was involved with my homeowners group, we really put an emphasis on emergency preparedness, but not just emergency preparedness by the city, emergency preparedness through the communities. So in my homeowners association, many years ago, we were doing things like, nobody would do it now, but we were doing things like buying walkie-talkies and learning how to communicate with each other in the event of an emergency. So things like that. Now, you wouldn't use walkie-talkies today, but there probably are other means we could figure out how would you communicate with each other in an emergency? How would you talk to each other? Inviting speakers to the event, to the meetings to talk about water. How do we get our water? What's going to happen if we need it in the event of a fire, such as the terrible fires that occurred recently? Fire prevention. Do we know how to prevent fires? I mean, you can't really prevent them, but fire management, better fire management would have helped so much in the recent fires. So things like that. And also, because the seniors are very vulnerable, what can they do individually? How can they prepare individually? What kinds of things should they have in their homes that would give them immediate access if something happened and they had to leave? What would they be able to do? Who would they call? Things like that. It seems like you could have a project where people would actually be mobilizing around this issue.
Very good. Thank you, Olivia. Jackie, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, I wanted to get back to um, the purpose of this working group, which is to provide cities with information that they need to communicate with their residents and how we can help them the most. And we can bring in speakers. So for example, let's take emergency preparedness. It would seem to me that you would want to get that information of where you're supposed to call and what you're supposed to do in an evacuation, for example, from your city. And what we can do is we can bring in people to this group that help cities provide that information, or we can take city information and disseminate it through that group, which is why we had the Torrance people here today. Unfortunately, we aren't what I call retail. We go through our cities to get to the groups, and this group is fantastic because we have so many other as Erin said, community-based organizations. We have so many CBOs, but I think it's really important that when we think about what we want to do, this is an information sharing group. It's a group that can decide on projects, but those projects should really go through the cities so that we can develop the newsletter articles for them, whatever that they want. And I would love people like Diane from one of our cities to talk and let us know, what do cities need for help with seniors? What would be the best thing we could do for our cities?
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. And then Aaron, I guess I just make the observation. I think the actionable project could tie back into what you've got below. Relative, are we reaching the right audience, if you will? I'll give you an example. Lomita has Lomita Manor. It's a senior housing for seniors in Lomita. But I was just thinking about it. It'd be helpful to have them in the loop and getting some of this information to them. So just as an example.
Mhm.
It seems like a lot of people want more directories and resources and information, and maybe we can work on even trying to get one of our volunteers or one of the organizations to help us put that together.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be great, Jackie, because I think, and going back to Olivia's observation, if you look at the recent fires, and we know we had examples where they had to, vacate senior citizen homes, right? And obviously that was a challenge, to say the least. So I think, anything we can do to get information to the people that are going to need it is going to be helpful.
I would suggest that maybe at our next meeting, we actually invite somebody from county fire or one of the city fire departments to talk about what their challenges are regularly and in emergencies as well, specifically addressing senior issues.
Okay, that'd be great, Jackie. Okay.
Maybe we could go around the horn here, Jackie and Bill, since we're kind of leaning back into topics for discussion. Emergency preparedness, by the way, about 89% of the folks here, or 88% of the folks who completed the survey, were interested in that topic. So we know what the hot button topics are. We can certainly do that. I'm curious, just to roll back or look back on the grant and funding opportunities, and just to ask this group of leaders and champions, is anybody here applying for the AARP grant? And if so, what do you have in mind for your organization or for your application?
Hey, I see a hand up. Yvonne?
Hi, this is Yvonne from Blue Shield Promise Medi-Cal. I don't have a comment specifically about your last question, but I did have a question about resources, which is very sensitive for our particular spa here, our Community Resource Center in Wilmington and the Gateway for our undocumented seniors, and what resources are available for them. Just to put it on your radar, please.
Okay, well, what's the question? I mean, or can you articulate that a little bit more?
What resources are available for our undocumented seniors in Spa 8?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite follow you. Okay.
There you go. Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great idea. Just curious, are there, again, pardon my ignorance, but are there are there a substantial number of undocumented seniors in Spa 8, for instance? I mean, I'm very much unaware of what those numbers are, that demographic is.
Yvonne, you're still on mute if you're speaking, but I can jump in. Yvonne, their resource center is based in Wilmington, so CD1. And I'm like pretty connected in that community, and I would say yes, there's probably a significant undocumented senior population there. But I'm, assuming that we'll be facing the same barriers that we face across the board, right? There's already limited resources for seniors, limited resources for undocumented folks. And so when you combine the two, I can imagine that it's probably a really frustrating and disheartening experience for you, Yvonne. I don't know if we have the answer, at least I certainly don't, but if anyone else on this call has resources or knows of anything that Yvonne can access for the undocumented seniors in our community, that would probably be super helpful.
Thank you, Addie. I really appreciate you supporting this question. It's very, very sensitive. We do have a lot of community members, no exaggeration, coming into the resource centers here in Spa 8, particularly here in the Gateway, with a lot of fear, a lot of concern, and asking for resources. So I'd like to know if there is any support within the community here on this call. Thank you, Addie, and thank you, Lori.
Okay. I don't see any other hands up. So I think, Yvonne, we'll see what we can do as far as getting information to you. This is the best we can do, I think, at this point. Okay, Aaron, we still had one question you wanted to answer, or where are we at on that one?
I guess what I'm hearing is that a couple of observations. One is hybrid. Okay, that's great. We've got that. That was easy. It feels like there's interest in, again, the opportunity for the COG to share or facilitate these, content, if you will, through these meetings. I'm not hearing any hard interest in the AARP grant right now. We would be open, again, Jacki, I may be over my skis here, but if anyone is interested in partnering on an AARP grant with the COG, that we would certainly entertain that as an opportunity. I think that's the message I'm hearing from internally here. Maybe it's topical towards what Olivia's interests are, or there are other interests around the table. And I guess in closing, we're a vessel for you. I mean, and our members, our state, our reach is through cities. And again, you're all constituents and organizations actively working within our sort of service territory. So how best can we serve you? And so please let's continue the dialogue. It's just super important. We want these meetings to be meaningful. We want we want you to feel like you're getting what you need from them, and we want to be of service to you, and then by extension to the seniors in the South Bay.
Let me just say that, Aaron, you were wrong about the number of people. This is one of our highest attended meetings. We have 35 people here. So that's great. And
Okay.
if you are interested in a grant opportunity, and we can't promise anything, but please let us know, and maybe we can partner. And then Ronson just did post something which is very interesting about immigrant homeless services. I would love to even explore with Janet and the federal government what they think is going to be happening, and how obviously how we can protect the people in our area. But I really appreciate the input today. Thank you.
Okay. And again, I guess and Laura, you still have your hand up? You have a question, comment?
Yeah, I had another comment. Thank you, Bill. Looking to collaborate with other nonprofits that may have the ability to get grants is something to consider, such as the ALA, the Affordable Living for the Aging. Their focus is on healthcare for seniors, housing, shared housing. There might be other organizations like that, so it wouldn't necessarily need funding from the COG, but some collaboration. Just wanted to throw that idea in. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on. Update from legislative offices?
He's on the phone. Any other legislators here?
I don't see any. So Jacki, you want to give the COG updates and we can come back to the legislative offices if applicable?
Janet, are you off the phone? Yeah. I'm sorry, Bill. Janet, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
So
I don't know what she.
nothing specific to
Janet?
share yet. Hopeful that we're going to have some really great legislation coming up. Hopefully not too much bad news. But I
Can
will
you
keep
hear
you
Janet? Can you all hear her? Okay.
as
Can you be, Janet, it's very hard to hear you.
so so not much right now, but next month for sure I'll have some updates for you, okay?
I think, okay. I'll give a COG update. The COG update is that we are getting ready for our General Assembly. And the General Assembly is going to be a birthday party for the COG. We're 30 years old. We're going to talk about our accomplishments, and we're planning to have speakers talk about the future. And we're taking that future and looking at some of the issues that we're all faced with today, which is resilience. What is the future going to look like? We might have some speakers on, we're still developing speakers because of the recent developments on what is the new normal. You know, what should we be preparing for? So that's coming together. The General Assembly is free. It's March 27th, and it's going to be, our normal is like 9 to 3. We don't have the exact times yet. We'll have a robust exhibit hall once again for you to come and network and learn about different cities and companies. And for lunch, if you want to stay for lunch, we are this year charging $15 if you register early. If you register late, it's $20 if the food is even available, because we have more constraints this year. So we hope to see you all at the General Assembly. That's March 27th, which is 2 days after our next meeting. So you can be sure that at our next meeting, I will give you another advertisement for the General Assembly. As far as the remainder of what the COG is doing, we're very, very busy on our environmental services and working with cities on energy efficiency. We're working with cities on our local travel network, which is a way for, we hope, seniors to be able to get around in zero emission, slow speed vehicles for local trips. And we are also in the process of working on a sale of our South Bay fiber network. The fiber network would be we have this very, very good fiber network that connects cities and several organizations, but it hasn't aggressively been marketing. And we would like them to go into small businesses and communities to what we call disrupt the market, which is to provide more competitive pricing for for everyone to be able to buy good, reliable internet services. And I see Addie, who is our pickup person today, is reminding everybody that the General Assembly is at the Carson Community Center. Thank you very much, Addie. And so I don't know what else I've forgotten. Ronson I'll turn to you to talk about what we're doing in homeless. The homeless services is really in the middle of developing policy as to what cities are going to be getting. And Ronson's really at the forefront of all of that. So, and then I just should add, if you haven't heard the news this morning, federal funds have stopped. So we have to figure out what grants we might or might not be getting that we were expecting. And I'm not sure that affects the homeless money. I don't think it does because we have so much that comes from sales tax. But I'll turn this over to Ronson.
I'm trying to figure out if Section 8 is affected by the declaration today. Apparently, Social Security and Medicare is not touched, but yeah, but there's so many other government funding things. Student
It's
loans.
loans, it'd be student loans, it would be,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. They're all affected.
Yeah. So still trying to figure that out. Yeah, like Jacki said, we're just knee deep in Measure A stuff. Our priority still is just doing functional zero. We have a few cities signed up, and then we're also trying to encourage other cities to participate in a way, and so that we can, get functional zero for the South Bay. And in terms of homelessness, we're actually down amongst our 15 cities down to less than 1,000 people on the streets, based on the point in time count. So that's encouraging. And then in terms of Measure A, we've been actively advocating for more funding to our cities to tackle the homelessness response. I think what the county said, there was a Friday meeting on the executive committee board, and the county told the executive committee that their point of view was that they were just giving our cities enough funding to supplement the system. And that was very telling because our city's approach to homelessness is that they want to solve homelessness and they don't want to they're not there to just supplement the system. And so they want funding and resources commensurate with solving homelessness. And so I think that's the divide right now. The county views cities as just supplementers of what they're doing, and the cities want to be more hands-on and tackle the problem head first. So we'll constantly be trying to bridge that divide and see if we can figure out a way to meet in the middle. But yeah, that's basically it.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now on to round robin member updates and announcements. Do we have any updates or announcements? And I'll start off. California, the League of California Cities had meetings this past week. I attended the Community Services Policy Committee meeting, and Senior Services is an element of that policy committee. So as appropriate, I may have someone from that policy committee bring something back to the Senior Services Working Group when appropriate. And then the other piece on, we all heard about the federal action today for Lomita. We have Lomita Manor that gets money from HUD. So anything, so again, those are one of the near-term potential impacted entities, if you will. So more to come on that. Okay. Any other updates or announcements? I don't see anybody's hands raised. Ronson, you see anyone else with a raised hand?
No, just checking the chat. Nope, nothing else.
Okay. So I will adjourn the meeting. It's 10:42, and the next meeting, as Jacki noted, is March 25, 2025, and it will be a hybrid meeting.
Thank you, Bill, for doing this.
No problem. Happy to help. Hope everybody has a great day. Thank you very much.